Okay, number 2 is not much more complex, but again, the benefit on this one is, on like say on that one, there really isn't any reverse chucking. Now you could, with that 1/4 inch mortise, you could reverse it onto here. I could, with this fixture here, I could reverse it onto there, and I could touch it up if I needed to. But it wouldn't be enough to hold it. It'd have to have tailstock support. And then since I wouldn't want to mark that up, I would take this point out here, and I've got a little homemade point here that's got a 1/4 inch hole drilled in it. I can put that in there, and I can just press it up against the top of that roof then, and hold it while I sand or do what I want to do to retouch up. So there's a lot of things you can do, a lot of little things you can make to go in your live centers. Here's the one-way live center. It's threaded to 3/4 by 10. So I've got a little one that's threaded for that, and I got another one. This is 5/8, I think it is, and it's threaded. That I can put different tips on the live center. And then you can see this. You can do the same thing with this. Where this one, I cut a piece of wood that's got the taper on there, and I jammed it in there. But I could bore out a piece of wood to fit over here, and then I come down and I can shape the point to whatever I wanted to. So you can do a lot of things to make different types of attachments and go onto your live centers. Okay, now I'm going to reduce this one down to 1 9/16 because I want to finish turning the outside when I've got a reverse. So I'm just going to go down, instead of going down all the way to 1.5 inches, I'm only going down to 1 9/16 on this one. Well, let me measure it, make sure what dimension I'm about to start with. Okay, about 2 1/4 inches, so I need to take off a good 1/2 inch or a little bit more. And that's probably not nearly enough, but I'll check it. Yeah, I'm down to 1 3/4 inches, so I need to go down another 1/8 of an inch. It's 5/8. Yeah, it's a little over 9/16. Okay, so now we want to drill okay, well, I got the. I need to true up the end surface, and again undercut it slightly. Let me do that. Okay, so now I need to bore a 3/4 inch hole about 7/8 of an inch deep. And I got my 7/8 inch mark with masking tape. Oh, I want to do that about 400 RPM. just a little bit of, I didn't shape it down far enough. I got just a little bit of a thing there, so let me just come in with a spindle gouge and just take that little bit of a lip off there. And that could put fibers inside of it, so I'm just going to come back with the flute of the gouge and just do a little bit of a scrape in there to get rid of any fibers that might have got pushed in the center there. Okay, so we're ready to reverse it? Yeah, reverse it.
Seems like I could get a try.
Well, maybe we better look and see what, I got a mixture of a different, repurpose some other things, so I still need this one for that fixture. Okay, now this one again, this one's going to be, instead of being the full 2-inch height, because it's going to be recessed, or it's going to be up against the flat surface and not recessed up underneath the lip. My overall height on this is going to be 1 and 5/8. So I mark 5/8 inch from the top. That's going to be my widest part. And then I'll come down 1 3/8. That's going to be the bottom. Okay, we just need to remove this waste now. Okay, reestablish my my height of should 1 and 3/8. Yeah, so still got a bit down there. So I'll go ahead and clean at the bottom and mark the center. Move waste and mark center. Okay. Since it's not fitting on there as snug as what I'd like for it to. So what you can do is, I don't have any water here, but yeah, that's better. You can put paper in there. When you put paper in there, if the paper's not uniform thickness, it might throw it off. Okay, and mark the center. Okay, now I want to scribe that 1/2-inch circle like I was supposed to do earlier and I forgot. set my compass to 1/4 inch. Okay, need to bore the finial hole. Go down to, I think you can do that in hardwood about 700, but I think I've got it 500 there now. Okay, now I want to true the body up. Now you see there it's not running perfectly true because with reverse chucking you never get it to run exactly true. So that's why I didn't go to the 1/2 inch diameter to start with. Now I'm going to take it down to the final 1/2 inch diameter. And 9/16. And 1/2 inch. Okay, now I need to reestablish my my center line or my midpoint. And again, that was 5/8 down from the top. Okay, so now we go through and do the shaping. And I'm going to take the bottom, this is the bottom, and that's the top. So I'm going to take the bottom down to that 1/2 inch circle. I'll do it on this one. So I'll leave about 1/8 of an inch shoulder up there at the top. And now I'm going to come in and undercut that. I think I did indicate it. We'll come in and just make sure that it's undercut. There's a bit of a circular grain pattern right there, and there's a down here on this. So I think this one up here would more. There's another pattern up here. I think that would accentuate the whole. So I'll put this about right there, and then come down about It's on this one, it comes down to 1/2 inch, or you can measure up from the bottom 1 inch. So I'll come down. And I would drill the hole right there then, and drill it by hand. Okay, we'll do the same thing on looking on here. There's a circular pattern right there in the grain. You see it? Not showing up very well. And but this over here, see, there's a grain pattern that runs around like that. I think I'd like to have the entry hole right in there to let that grain pattern accentuate the hole. So again, I'll come up from the bottom 1 inch, and then just go about in the center of that. Just mark that. Now, I'm not going to go all the way in because I don't want to drill a hole in my jig. But there's my entry hole in. I'll come back and I can drill that all the way through into the entry hole so it doesn't show. You don't see that bottom of the hole there. It'll be drilled into the cavity.
What was that bit size thing?
That's 5/16. Yeah, in his book, he only drills a hole 1/4 inch diameter, and I think that's kind of small looking for that size of, so I do 5/16. And then again, you would do any sanding now, and even applying the finish at this stage. But that's it for the body, and not that much more complex than the other version, except the benefit of that is you got slight amount of reduction in weight, plus you can reverse chuck it. And if I wanted to come back and change anything on that, I can always stick it back on there and do it again. But where this one here, once you part it off, it's done. You can't do anything unless you sand it by hand or do anything by hand on it. Okay, the roof. How are we doing on time? I haven't made up a regular paper with pictures or anything, but I've got just a list of my steps. If anybody wants this, just send me an email to gwa-turner@hotmail.com. And I'll send it to you. Yes. Picky, picky, picky. Roof for number 2. Okay, I'm going to start out with again, a block that I prepared. And the reason you got to be careful about drilling the hole, if you drill this hole too deep here, when you go to start shaping your roof, the inside diameter can exceed the outside diameter. Okay, our diameter is probably about 2 1/4. No, it's about 2 1/8, so I need to take off. Now, since I'm going to reverse this one, my ultimate diameter of my roof is going to be 1 3/4, so I'm going to take this down to 1 13/16. So I need to take off about a little bit over 1/4 inch, 5/16. Went a little bit too far. I still should out here at the rim. Oh no, this is going to be. It might be a little bit smaller than it's because it's right at 1 3/4 now, so I might have to trim it down a little bit farther if it's not running true. Okay, now the roof, we need to establish that tenon on the roof. So I want to make that tenon about, what did I say, on about 5/16 of an inch long. Well, I need to bore. Oh, I go. Forget to describe that circle. I need to describe the tenon, outside diameter of that tenon is 3/4 of an inch. Where will it go? So I need to set my compass to 3/8. You can't see it anyway. That's about 3/8. And I need to go ahead and bore my 5/8 of an inch hole about 5/8 of an inch deep. And on this one, I got my tape is marked for the other one, so I've just put a mark here at 5/8 of an inch. So I'll cut it down to that marker line. And again, about 400 or 500 RPM. So there's the thread on the end of the one-way live center is I think it's 3/4 by 10 thread TPI. So I've threaded this block for that.
You just use a regular tap and die to do that?
Yeah, for that I do it. It's just a machinist tap I got down at Handy Hardware. The Beal spindle, what I use for doing these is a Beal spindle tap, and it's made specifically for wood. And it's got a little bit larger flutes for chip clearance, where the machinist tap doesn't have as large a flute, so you got to put it in and back of that and put it in there, or blow it. You can blow air in there when you're cutting it, but it just doesn't have as large a flutes for the chip clearance on a regular machinist tap. Okay, and I want to support, since I'm only going to have about a 1/16 of an inch thick wall there, I want to provide support inside of there, so when I start cutting that tenon in there, it doesn't blow out on the inside. So I want this tenon to be 5/16 of an inch long. Okay, this is what's called a beading and parting tool. It's a 3/8 inch square stalk with the tape out of, I don't know what the taper is on it. So I use that to trim. I got my circle there I can go down to. Well, it's going to be smaller, so it's already under a little bit, slightly under 3/4 of an inch there. I guess I didn't have my mark calibrated very good, on my compass. So I want to undercut that edge, and clean that edge up and undercut it a little bit. Oh, we can go ahead and, I think I already got it down as far as what it needs to go. I think I've already got it down to 3/4 inch, and it's running. Well, I'm getting ahead of myself. That would be when I reverse it, but I need to clean this up before I reverse it. And again, I'm going to undercut it slightly. Oh, I wanted to do a little bit of roof shaping before I reverse it. Okay, now the way Dick Singh did it, the procedure process he describes in there is he goes ahead and takes that down to about a little bit less than 1/2 inch. And then he comes in with a parting tool and parts in that way to release it, and you still have your center point on the original block of wood. You know, there is space in behind there. My tenon is only going about halfway down, so I got a 1/4 inch. 3/4 inch space there, and then there is a recessed inside the chuck. So really, it's okay. You're not going to run into anything unless you make it too large. But what I found is you really don't need to do that. And his reason for doing that was retaining that center point on the original block of wood. So when you reverse it, you got the center point to mark it on. But I found out you don't need to do that. You can use it the way it is. Oh, that's not the right one for that. Okay, I've got the center point there. I've got it running true. Now I can go ahead and just knock that piece off and not do it the way he did it. Now I got to be careful or not going down too steep in here. I got to make it a little bit less curved because I don't want to run into my my tenon I've got in there. That's a 1/4 inch diameter, so that gives me a good reference for my 1/4 inch diameter on my roof that I need. Okay, now I want to mark my 2 inch for the height of my roof. And it's right there. Okay, I'll come in with it. Just make a little bit of a scribe there with the skew so I don't lose it when I go down farther. Okay, now come down 17 millimeters, which is about 1/3 of the way down, just for proportions. So it's going to be my narrow part. Okay, I'm going to make this a little bit thinner up here. Good. A little bit of a ridge right there. Let me see if I can get rid of that. That's pretty good. Now you could. There's a little bit of marks in there still yet, but that can be cleaned up with sandpaper. Check this rim out here. I feel a little bit. I got a little bit of fraying there. Let me just chew that up a bit. Okay. Okay, so ready to part that off. And again, I want the top to be slightly domed. Now, since that is on this tenon here, I probably could go ahead and part it off, but the danger you run into when you part it off, when it gets down there at the very end, it could tear some fibers off, but you're going to be drilling a hole in there anyway to put the screw eye in, so it doesn't, it probably wouldn't hurt. But I'll go ahead and I'll just finish cutting it off with the saw. and mark the center for the screw eye. And I got one of the things I forgot to put in my toolbox last night was I got a little hand drill, a little pin vise with the drill size for the screw eye, and I would run that at about 400 or 400 or 500 RPM, and I'd drill a hole in the center like that. But that's it for the roof.
Are you using a CA finish
Yes.
and you're applying it while it's on? The
Yeah. Well, at this point, I would go ahead and apply it. I probably would have before I parted it off. I would have sanded it and applied the CA finish. And I like to put about 3 or 4, depending on the density of the wood. This is cherry, and I think it only took about 2 coats. I was doing some stuff the other day that was more porous, and I had to put 4 or 5 coats on. But the drawback is you got your jig tied up, doing it that way. And I have used the Triple E. They got a polishing or a buffing compound and a friction polish. I've been using that on the finials, and it comes up really nice with that. But a larger flat surface like that, the problem I have with friction polish, I'll get rings in there, and I think I'm probably putting too much on. You're supposed to only put it for friction polish, just put a very slight amount on. But with that, I'm using the Tite buses, not Tite Bond, the one that's out here, Star Bond, CA glue. The super thin, it really works nice. It has an odor, but nothing like the Stick Fast or the Tite Bond. And it gives you quite a bit of working time, even though it says super thin and fast. I use a little sponge applicator. Like, did you see the Sphere demo where I did the CA? I use a little. It's at Walmart in the kids craft section. There's a little packet of I think it's 4 by 6 inch sheets of 3 through 16 inch foam. And it's multicolors. I just cut it in about a 1/2 inch wide strip, and I put a little finger protector on my finger so the glue doesn't soak through it, but still it might run around. And I can sit there and I go back and forth several times and even it out. Where I've done with Stick Fast, you do that a couple times and it would start sticking to it. So it gives you some working time. And I really like it. It works very nice for me. So there's number 2 roof. What did I do by the Life Center? Oh, there it is. Take it down to 1 13/16. Measure it to start with, so know how much you got to take off. Okay, I'm just over 2 inches. I'll hit around 3/4 again. So we'll true up the face. Okay, I want to scribe a 3/4 inch circle. And I need to double check my when I draw it, make sure I got it right, because it was too small before. That's 3/4. Okay, so now I need to cut a tenon. I'm going to start cutting that tenon, 3/4 inch tenon, about 1/8 of an inch deep. And let's use the parting tool to do that. Okay, now when I undercut the roof, I want to leave about 1/8 of an inch shoulder. That my size there is about 1/8 of an inch there, so I want to leave 1/8 of an inch shoulder down in the bottom there to seat the body against. So with this, benefit of this, I can actually put the body up here and fit the body. Looks like I got it. It's pretty good there. Okay, clean that little ragged bit off there a little bit. Yeah. Man, you take a little bit more. It's not straight, it's tapered, so I can see that it's tapered, so I just need to trim that up and make it more straight in. And for that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be using the edge here. I'm going to be holding it, just eyeballing it so that this is flat on the bottom, and I'm going to be scraping on this edge of the parting tool. There we go, that's pretty good. Yep. Okay, now to remove that excess material, and you're not going to be gaining a lot of weight, but it just makes me feel good to do it. Look, for this I'm going to use a spindle gouge or a shallow fluted gouge. I think it's about a 40-degree nose bevel. And I want the tool rest at about the center height. And what I'm going to do is hold the flute at about a 45-degree angle, or the flute facing about 10 o'clock. And I'm just going to bore in and then pull it out. And that's it. And then it'll be the same thing as the other one. I'd reverse it, only I've got a different fixture here. With a wooden fixture, it's eventually going to wear. Well, this is PVC, and it's much more durable. And what I did is there isn't a piece of PVC that has the size hole that I wanted from a tenon. I probably could have just used the Schedule 40 PVC and adjusted the size of this tenon here to fit the Schedule 40. But I was stubborn, and what I did is I bored this is a 1-inch diameter. I bored a 1-inch diameter hole in the bottom, down about that deep, and then I made a dowel that would fit inside that Schedule 40 PVC. So I put those together down in there and use polyurethane glue to stick to everything. So this is a dowel. It's not the one I first tried doing. I tried cutting a groove in there down to fit the PVC into. But it was just too tedious, so I drilled a 1-inch hole, cut a dowel to fit inside the PVC, and then glued everything in there. And then I took, this is a piece of 3/4-inch PVC then that I cut this. I used the square nose scraper, increased the inside diameter of the Schedule 40 PVC so that this smaller PVC would just fit in snugly. Then I glued that in, and then I did the same thing to open that up a little bit to give me a nice snug fit of that roof piece in there like that. So then that's how I reverse the roof on number 3. And then the finial, well, I have time, but the finial's just got an 1/8-inch hole. I mean a 1/4-inch thing, and I'll put it on. Put it in there like that, and I'll turn it in this orientation here. I'll make this a little bit longer because my live center is going to be putting a hole in there, so I set it back about 1/8 of an inch or so I can come in and part off and get rid of that hole. And then I'll shape my my finial like that, making this 1/2 inch diameter and this is a 1/4 inch diameter, and then taper it down, and then come back here and make this a 1/4 inch, just like you saw me do earlier with the parting tool. Make it a 1/4 inch, then part it off, and that's how I make the finial. Any questions? Okay.